Hey beauties, good afternoon to you. This morning I was kind of listening to this, different too. Sometimes I listen to like half an hour of different pastors that I follow and listen to in the mornings. Good for your morning, to hear something positive and solid and to learn even more. And I felt this unction from the Holy Spirit. I felt this, and I wanted to explain to people why, the woman was used as that vessel, that tool, for so-called sin to come in the world, in a sense. If you remember the book of Genesis chapter 1, God made everything, including man, and he said everything was good. And then now we come to chapter 2, where God tells the man that, look here, you're going to dominate everything, dominate the earth and the birds of the air, the fishes in the sea and everything, the creatures on the land and whatnot. And he says you can enjoy everything in this garden, except that particular tree. Do not touch it. The day you do, if you disobey me, you're going to die. Do not do it. There is something about men when they hear order. They hear things very as is. Women tend to be we kind of dissect things a little bit. I mean, men will query things, but when it is very clear and sure, they listen. When they know that, okay, if they do this, this will happen, trust me, the man will follow. They're very logical like that. They follow things in a logical path. That is why they say men use more of the left side of the brain while the women use more of the right side, the creative side, the dynamic side. Now, Eve was not made as yet. It was in verse 21 when, God caused Adam to fall asleep into a deep sleep and pulled, something from his upper body. Some versions will say rib, but whatever part of him, and the woman was now fashioned. So when she came about, we can safely assume that maybe God repeated what he said to Adam. We can probably assume that. We can also assume that because since God gave Adam authority over the earth in terms of dominion over the earth, that his expectations of Adam would be, what I said to you, you tell your wife, you tell her. Don't expect me to come and tell her. In other words, when I'm hungry and I need to eat, I don't say, God, do you think I should eat some food? Or maybe if I chew on a piece of paper. What do you think, God? I'm being ridiculous. So we're going to safely assume that the stronger of the two, or the more logical of the two, is that Adam was the one tasked with the responsibility to tell his wife, look here, baby, we can enjoy everything. Do not touch that one. That one, God says, if we do, we are going to die. We are going to dead as it. So we safely assume that he said it to her. We're just making that assumption, because that was not necessarily indicated unless Bible historians can tell me otherwise. All right. So naturally, we're going to assume that he would have had that conversation as a husband to his wife. And remember now, that's second-hand information. This is not first-hand information, because I say the more logical of the two is that God would have expected Adam to have the conversation with his wife, to tell her what he said, because since he's made with the authority and she's made with the power of influence. The enemy knew what was happening, so he said, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I know I cannot go to Adam because God clearly told him is not second-hand information or third-hand information. He told him that if he touches that thing, he's going to die. He's going to die. He's going to dead. So I know me can't go to him, and I know how men stay now. You see, if they make up their mind, women can't be like that too. You not change it. Him so. All right, I go and catch her. She never hear it from God directly. I'm just making that surmisation. So let me go to her. Men are moved generally by what they see, but women are moved generally by how you make them feel. That is why in the book of Peter says, do not embitter your wives. Don't make them feel sad and hurt. Lest their prayers will be hindered, because God knows how we are wired as women. We need to hear gentle words, nice words, sweet words, and maybe that is why you have women who you probably say they're yam heads, dasheen heads, coca heads. It's not so much that, it is that how women are wired. They're moved by what they hear and how you make them feel. So the enemy comes and he says to her, hey, what's up, friend? How you doing? And so on. Wow, I see you enjoying everything that your master has made. Wow. I don't know if you know this, one of the beautiful things, you want to become as powerful as your master. That sounds, remember, woman or move. When you hear that, that you can get power as your man. What? Yeah, man, how? What your husband tell you about you can't touch that and so it's foolishness. You see, if you go for that thing, I guarantee you have the same power as your master. Eve did a little bit too prime. That was my problem with her. She should have been satisfied with what God had blessed her with. She should have trusted her husband enough, but maybe because she never experienced life in the fullness of it, of life, let me put it that way. So she was a little bit too prime. She wanted too much. And a part of that is greed on her part. Because her husband said, honey, look at what we have, let us enjoy it, and so on. But she decided to go and let the enemy trick her and tell her something sweet to the ear, that the day you eat of that you lie, you're going to have knowledge, you're going to have wisdom similar to your master. Why would you want to overthrow your master, the one who made you? That is where my problem lied with Eve. Now, one of the fundamental things about women is that we have the power of influence. And we see that in the, is it King, somewhere in the Old Testament, I don't want to quote the wrong book, with Jezebel and King Ahab and Naboth's vineyard. He went and bawled on her shoulders, so to speak, and she had to hush him, while he's in his nappy with the nipple bottle and the soother in his mouth, the pacifier, and say, all right, just put the pacifier in your mouth, hush on it, but now soon change your nappy, and tomorrow get rid of Naboth, and you shall have his vineyard, because women have the power of influence, although he has the authority as king. So we see that, and with that reality, so you have the power of influence now, going to the power of authority, and say, come on, no man, maybe you get it confused, man. God probably never tell you this. Well, yes, man, Adam, you get it twisted, man, or she could have said, so God not easy. Actually, God knows, so we're going to get as powerful as he is, And when he heard that probably stirred his ego and stirred something inside of him. So he said, all right, maybe you're right. Because if you notice, the scripture says, and she took and gave to her husband, which tells a story that maybe the husband was in close proximity, or he was standing there while the enemy is telling her all of what he's telling her, and he's so bamboozled that he's wondering, I know God tell me something enough to eat this, but I wonder still. And it sounds good for know, so I can probably have similar power as God. I can be God, or like God in equal sense. Wow, that sounds exciting. That's one of the flaws of humanity. And it, not to say that God made us flawed. I'm just saying to you, we are made beings. We are created beings. So we're not we don't have that sense of what should I say now? Where that level of wisdom and understanding, where we'd say, no, God said this, God said that. We are learning life. So now Eve comes to her husband, and he could be in close proximity. He could have been standing there, could have been, doing something, but listening to the serpent telling her something, and he's in himself. He must be at some point confused and say, wow, I wonder if still, I wonder, curiosity. Because if you understand human nature, that is why people can say we all fast. There is a curiosity compartment within everybody. You have to be curious. If you're not curious, you won't grow, you won't learn. Where the problem comes is where you become mixed up and you tell lies. Where you become mixed up and you twist things. That's where the problem lies. But you have to be curious. If you want to say fast or not, you have to be curious. That's how you grow. That's how you know. I don't, for example, if you have at the prep school level of education or primary level, when you see secondary, you say, wow, I can go to further. When you see tertiary, you want to go further, and so on, as the case may be. It's your curiosity element inside of you that causes that. And because of their curiosity and a sense of greed, and a little bit too prime, that is how sin entered the world. But he had to go through the avenue of the woman. Because chances are if he went to Adam would have clear-cut told him, no, I know what God said. But he came and he used the power of influence to influence the power of authority. And that is why. So men, nobody blame women. Nobody blame it. You should have done your part from day one. Guys, follow me on TikTok. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share this message.